Okay, so we're on to the next pages. I think these turned out fantastic. Again, I leave them a little bit open so I can go back and do stuff to them if I feel like it needs more, but I don't want to push it too far where I'm like, oh, I overdid it. So these I feel like are in that space, especially this one where it's like that sweet spot. This one, maybe a little too much, maybe not enough, not sure yet, but let's just leave it how it is for now. But let's move on to the next ones. So we're gonna take this one out of here, put it in the stack. There we go. Got the stack of finished pages over here. And then flip this one over because we gotta work on the back of this one now. And let me find a page to go with this. I got my big stack of papers here that I've already prepared. And oh, this one kind of looks like it might go well with it. Yeah, I kind of like that. That could go really well. I think I'm going to take that one. I like that one. Alright, let's put those back over there. Got grass all over it. I'm sitting out in the yard. Alright. Okay. Alright, so with this one I'm going to be doing like a scene from the street in the alleyway. Like I'm outside the alleyway in the street and you're looking at a little bit of a distance and there's going to be buildings like right in here and it's going to come all the way across both pages on this one. And what we're going to do is have the alleyway maybe right around here somewhere. And then Skits will be walking out and the poles will be chasing them out of the alleyway. So maybe what I'll do is I'll rough in where I want Skits to be. And then I'll put in the buildings around Skits. So it's like I know exactly, because I want Skits to be the focal point here. So maybe put Skits right about here. Right about here, I'm thinking. Running out. And then the poles coming out behind them. So I'm thinking right about there. And the size that I make Skits will kind of determine everything else. But before that, I want to put some textures down on this again. I'm going to put some textures kind of on the top ends of these two. And then I'll draw everything in on top of it. I think that'll add nice. And then on the bottom it'll be kind of just white space, I think. I think that'll be kind of nice. Kind of cut across, focal point about here on this third of the two pages. So it'll kind of come right down like that. Let me just kind of pencil that in. Something like that. Maybe not so strong like that, but basically something like that. So I want textures up in here. Yeah. Alright. Let's go get some texture stuff and then to glue down and then we'll get to it. We got some materials. Some old book pages for cutting and pasting. Well, I pulled these out of the old book. They kind of ripped. Whenever I go overseas, I try and find old books in bookstores. What happens is a lot of times these old bookstores, they'll have old books that are just tore up, but they feel bad about throwing them away. So they'll have them really cheap for like, you know, £5 or something, and they're from the 1800s a lot of times. And I just buy them for the paper. So I like the paper. They just, you know, there's not a lot of paper made like this anymore. This one's really, really good. You can actually feel on this where the letters have been letter pressed into the paper. It's really, really nice. Only have so much of this paper left, so I'm gonna have to find something else like this at some point. But I think this is I think this was like a encyclopedia type book or something like that. I'm not sure what we got here. Hat making. Yeah, see, this was hat making. A lot of H stuff. Hectic. Hetera. I don't know, maybe in botany. Okay, yeah, so it is. It's kind of like that. Then I got this old Remington bullseye. It's kind of neat. I like the green in it. It's old. Been aged, I think, in the sun. Probably sitting out in the sun for a while in someone's window or something. I like it. So anyway, we're going to take these and paste them down. So let's get to it. And I just dropped some. Alright. I'm going to start out with this thing. I usually like to do it upside down, if just because then you're not looking at what it says necessarily. That's just something I like to do. So anyway, like that. Let's get to it. Let me rip a few more here though before I get started. Just make it smaller so it's a little more manageable. Oh, there we go. Alright, so you put down some medium first. Then you take a piece, matte medium the back of it. That way you're getting glue on both surfaces that are going to stick together. And you put it down. Down like that. Get your squeegee. Boom. Squeegee it out, and it's nice and flat. There we go. Take your excess, put it back to work. Alright, next piece. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. And your hands are going to get dirty when you're doing this, so don't even worry about it. Just go with the flow. can't not get dirty doing this. So. It's going to get all in your fingernails. It's going to get everywhere. That's just the way it is. One thing I want to do though is I want to make sure I get up any of that stuff that gets on the table. Alright, let me get a little bit of this. There you go. Get your excess off of there. There we go. Maybe do another one of them right here. Again, I want to make sure I keep this nice and thin there. Let me get a big old piece, kind of like this. We're getting there, we're almost there. And just a couple more pieces and then we'll have something worth working over. There we go. Get some of this. Okay. I gotta watch it because this paper is actually starting to stick to the table underneath. So I'll have to get done here and then fix that. Alright. I'll put this up here in the corner. And the thing with doing this, you don't really need a lot. You know, don't have to pile it all on there too much. A little dab will do ya. Alright, let me just smooth this out. Yep, a little bit of excess, put it back in the bucket. Take the rag, clean it off. Get all the big stuff off of it. And then we'll clean it out. Alright, so let me let this dry and then we'll get back to it. Alright, so it dried up pretty good. It only took a minute. Put the hair dryer on it. So what I want to do is do a little gesso mixed with water, because I just want to kind of give a wash over this. Yeah, there we go. And one of the main reasons why I'm doing that is, one, I want to draw over this, so I want to be able to see everything, and also the gesso will make it so that the matte medium can be drawn over. And we talked about that before. It's hard to draw on top of matte medium, but by doing this with the gesso, it'll kind of, for one, it makes it a little wider. It'll be easier to do the pencil work on and see it. And it'll make it so you can actually do it because of the tooth in the matte medium, or in the gesso, excuse me. And what makes gesso gesso? Well, it's marble dust. That's basically what that tooth is in it. It's water and marble dust. So I'm kind of liking this. I'm liking this. Let's let it dry and then we'll get back to work. Be right back. So we're going to start drawing in this scene where it's kind of like an alleyway, like I said, with skits right about here. I think I'm going to work with the, just kind of rough the alleyway in. Excuse me. And figure out where I want to put skits, but I'm actually going to do the buildings first, I think. I'm not sure why, but that's just kind of how I feel like I need to do it right now. So we will see how it goes. I have looked over a little bit of reference material for the buildings and stuff from Savannah, just using like Google Maps and stuff like that to refresh my memory, because I haven't lived in Savannah in 20 years, but I've been back to visit a good bit. It's a different town from when I lived there now, completely different. Anyway, let's just go with it. Let's see what happens. I think I'm gonna put the alleyway maybe right there. Yeah, let's just try. Yeah, sometimes just need to go with your gut on things. And when I started this one, I was like, you know, I wanna do this one kind of like auto drawing in a way. Just draw it on out, figure it out as I go along. I understand you can't really see what's going on over here, so I ain't gonna spend much time over on this side. Kind of heading off the screen here, but it's there. So I'll just rough it in. Some interesting buildings in Savannah. A lot of history, so the closer you are to the river, the older the buildings are, and the further away from the river you go, the newer the buildings are. I'll put one pole right here. There we go. And there's some buildings as you go back in here. Back down in the alley. Maybe there's another. hole back here too. But as you can see, the just putting that light gesso wash on this allowed me to go back in and draw just normally. And I kind of like the way it washed it out a little bit anyway. We don't want it too strong. Excuse me. And for this building right here, I'm actually going to look at some reference of just some of the stuff that they use to cover up things. You know, some of the older buildings are just covered up in weird ways because they've been around for so long. They just keep adding more and more junk over the top of it to like close it in. Like they'll close in porches, they'll cover up windows, you got AC units sticking out of windows all over the place because it's hotter than heck in Savannah. It is hot. And a lot of these old buildings, you know, most of them didn't have AC, you know, because they're built in the 1800s. Wasn't a lot of AC back then. A lot of them were built before electricity, you know, so hardly no insulation in the walls in a lot of them. No closets. A lot of them were built without closets. I've read a lot about that, you know, why homes in the past were built without closets. I've heard a few different things. One, they didn't have a lot of clothes, you know, a lot of different clothes. And two, they didn't, I read this thing where if they put, for every room that had a closet, you would get taxed differently. So if a room had a closet in it, it got taxed differently than just a room. So they wouldn't put closets in the rooms because it would get some sort of tax put on it. I don't know what the heck that's all about, but hey, whatever, you know. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just something I read long ago. Either that or someone told me that years ago when I lived in Savannah. I don't know. Just all sorts of different reasons why things are the way they are. I know a few friends of mine who are kind of novelist historians of Savannah. One who does ghost tours, and then others who just kind of know the city's history because they're big fans of architecture. There's a lot of people that end up going to SCAD and end up staying in Savannah just because they like it, you know. I was very close to being one of those persons, but my biggest problem was I just couldn't make any money there. Or maybe I just didn't know if I could or something. I don't know. I just didn't feel like I could. So, man, I had an okay job for the time. When I left Savannah, I was working at the TV station, and I was making alright money for 2000. It was like, I think I was making $9 an hour, something like that, which was pretty okay for them. It's like, I think minimum wage today here in Tennessee is $9.50, something like that. So I'm pretty close to today's minimum wage 20-something years ago. I remember my first job I had, I was working as a dishwasher. Well, the first job where I worked at an actual company and everything. I had jobs before then, helping out doing construction and stuff like that. I've done roofs and stuff, but this is the first job I ever had. Regular job. And I was making $4 an hour, which was minimum wage, maybe $3.75, something like that. $3.75. So, not bad. It's like, can you imagine working for that type of money though today? People would go nuts if they had to work for $3.75 today. This is just 20 years, or no, 30 years ago. 30 years ago. I think next book I work on like this, I'll combine the pages and I'll just fold it in the middle. That way when I draw on it like this, it'll be a little easier. Maybe. Well, half of them will be a little easier because you still got the other pages. So, and again, you know, a lot of the stuff here in the middle, not going to be seen, but I still feel like it needs to be there. So I'll put it in. And not everything has to be perfect. Matter of fact, if it's having it not perfect is a little cooler. You know, it gives it a little character, a little flavor. At least that's the way I see it anyway. And on this one, I'm gonna have it where there's like some boards just covering up this weird thing here. The bottom of this building's just kind of been boarded up over and over again, so it's got some weird stuff going on it. I'm gonna have Skits right about here. Pencil him in right there, kind of running out of the alley with boot flopping behind, and these poles. I'm gonna have a few more of these poles following them. But I just want to get the main building in here. Okay. Put some junk there. That's kind of cool. And there's always grass growing up out of the sidewalk and stuff like that. You know. Especially around the bottom of the building where the water drips down, and then there's a break with some sand right in there usually. Again, I'm just putting some of these boards in here. It's just kind of boarded up. And of course, since I'm drawing on gesso, it it does eat up the pencil quick. There we go. Guess I'm seeing that. So. There's something weird sound behind me right now. It's been snowing for the last few hours, and I think some sleet's coming down now. Anyway, let's pause and then I'm gonna come right back. What you're seeing here, give us a like, share, subscribe. Also go on over to the Skitscomic.com website. All videos show up there a week before they ever hit YouTube. While you're there, pick you up a comic book, print, or go ahead and get you an original piece of art. Lastly, go over to Indiegogo.com and sign up for the book that you're actually watching being made right now. Thank you and have a great day.